It is 2:17 in the morning. Your phone is face down on the nightstand. You told yourself you would stop checking. You told yourself that an hour ago. The screen lights up anyway. You reach for it before you are fully awake. The number on the screen is either going to make you feel like a genius or a fool, and you will not know which until you look. This is the life. This is what you signed up for. Except you did not fully understand what you were signing up for when you started. Nobody does. Because crypto does not just change your portfolio, it changes your personality, your sleep, your relationships, your entire relationship with reality. And the further you go into it, the stranger and more powerful and more isolating it becomes. This is your life at every level of a crypto whale. Level 1, the believer. You have somewhere between $500 and $2,000 in crypto. You bought it because someone you trusted told you to, or because you read something at midnight that made a terrifying amount of sense, or because you watched a number go up for 3 weeks and could not stay on the sidelines anymore. Your portfolio is small, but your conviction is enormous. You check the price 11 times a day. You have price alert notifications set for movements of 2%. You have joined 4 Telegram groups and 2 subreddits, and you read them during your lunch break at work. You have explained blockchain technology to your mother once, and your coworker twice, and neither of them understood it, and that secretly made you feel like you were seeing something others could not. Here is what nobody tells you at level 1. The conviction you feel is not the same as knowledge. The two feel identical from the inside, but they are not. You are holding something real, but you do not yet understand the full weight of what you are holding. The market will teach you. The lessons will not be gentle. You are still sleeping through the night. Enjoy it. Level 2, the survivor. You have been through your first real crash. Maybe you watched 30% disappear in a single weekend. Maybe you panic sold at the bottom and bought back in at the top 2 weeks later. Maybe you held through the pain and came out the other side with more coins, but 3 fewer months of peace. Your portfolio sits somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000 now. You are still at your job. You still need your job. But your brain now runs 2 parallel processes at all times. One process does the job, answers emails, sits in meetings, makes decisions. The other process is always watching the chart, always doing the math, always running the scenario where it goes up 300% and what that number becomes. The strange part is this: surviving a crash changes you in ways that are hard to explain to someone who has not experienced it. You understand now that the number can have, and that you did not sell, and that it came back. And that changes your relationship with fear in a permanent way. Other people's financial anxieties begin to seem small to you, not because you are arrogant, but because you have already lived through something most people cannot imagine and kept going. You are not rich yet, but you are no longer naive. Level 3, the Accumulator. Your portfolio is somewhere between $50,000 and $200,000. You have been in the market through at least one full cycle. You have seen euphoria. You have seen despair. You know what it feels like to watch your net worth cut in half in 30 days and wake up the next morning and go to work anyway. Now you are building with intention. You are not buying randomly anymore. You have a thesis, a strategy. You know which projects you believe in and why. You know your position sizes. You know your exit levels. You have a hardware wallet. You have read about self-custody. You take it seriously in a way that the person you were at level 1 would not have understood. Here is the hidden truth at this level. You are beginning to understand that crypto is not one thing. It is 10,000 things, most of which will fail, a few of which will define the next decade of the global financial system. And the difference between the people who win and the people who merely participate is the ability to tell those two categories apart before everyone else does. Your coworkers are starting to ask you questions. You answer carefully. You have watched enough people make reckless decisions based on a conversation at a dinner party to know that advice is a liability in this space. You still have a job, but the job is starting to feel like the backup plan rather than the plan. Level 4, the converter. Something happened. A cycle peaked. A position multiplied. A bet you made 18 months ago that everyone in your life thought was reckless paid off in a way that does not feel real yet. Your portfolio crossed a number you had written in your journal 2 years earlier as the number that would change everything. Somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million. And now the question is not how to make more. The question is how to not lose it. This is where it changes. You start thinking about taxes in a way you never did before. You start thinking about which assets to convert, when to convert them, how to document everything in a way that protects you. You hire an accountant. You talk to a lawyer. You begin to understand that the system was not designed with you in mind, and that navigating it is a full-time skill that takes years to develop. Your relationship with money has fundamentally changed. Before this, money was something you earned. Now, money is something you manage. The difference between those two things is the difference between an employee and an owner, between someone who works for the system and someone who has learned to work the system. Your lifestyle is changing quietly. You moved apartments. You paid off the debt you carried for years without telling anyone. You do not announce these things. You have noticed that the people who announce these things in the crypto space tend to lose it all within 18 months. You are quieter now than you were at level 1. Level 5, the whale. Your portfolio is somewhere between $5 million and $50 million. The number is surreal to you still, on some days. On other days, it is just a number on a screen. Here is what nobody tells you about this level. Your presence in the market is no longer neutral. When you buy, you move prices. When you sell, you move prices. You are no longer a participant in the game. You are, in some small but real way, part of the game itself. And that changes how you think about every single move you make. You do not talk about your holdings. Not to friends, not to family, not on social media, not even in the encrypted group chats where everyone is wealthy. You have watched enough people at this level become targets, either for hackers or for manipulation, or simply for the slow erosion that comes from people treating you differently once they know what you have. Your inner circle is small, deliberately small. You trust very few people completely. And the people you trust are not the people who were excited to be around you when the number went up. They are the people who were there before any of this, and you hold on to them. The money is working now. Staking, lending, generating yield. You have not had to touch your principal in months. The income from the portfolio alone could sustain a life most people would consider extraordinary. But you do not live extraordinarily, at least not visibly. You have learned that visibility is expensive in ways that have nothing to do with money. Level 6, the architect. $100 million, maybe more. The number has become almost philosophical. You do not spend most of your days thinking about crypto prices anymore. The volatility that used to consume you now feels like weather. You know it will come. You know it will pass. You have structured things in a way that means no single storm can destroy the foundation. You think about legacy now, about what this is for, about what you are building and who it will outlast. You fund things, projects, people, ideas that might take 10 years to matter. You are thinking in decades in an industry that mostly thinks in weeks, and that long view is one of the most valuable things you own. Read that again. The long view is one of the most valuable things you own. You are quieter than you have ever been. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you have learned that the people worth talking to are rare, and when you find them, The conversation does not need to be loud to be meaningful. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you feel is not anxiety. It is something harder to name, a kind of responsibility, a weight that is not unpleasant but is always present. You built something real. And now the question of your life is not how to build more. The question is what this was all for, what it should become, what it should mean. It is 2:17 in the morning somewhere right now. Someone is checking their phone for the first time. Someone is watching a number they cannot believe. Someone is about to make a decision that will define the next 5 years of their life, and they do not know it yet. The chart does not care. The market does not care. It has no memory and no mercy and no preference for who wins. But the people who win are not the ones who are the smartest. They are the ones who stayed, who survived, who learned, who got quiet when the noise got loud, who held when every instinct said sell, who understood that the number on the screen is not the point. The point is who you become while chasing it, and whether that person is someone you actually want to be.